Loving others? Easier said than done. If you struggle with loving other people from time to time, or even most of the time, you're not alone. Loving others can be a difficult thing. In fact, the scriptures say to even love our enemies. So I like this Peanuts cartoon one time when Charlie Brown was talking to Lucy. And Lucy was in a really bad mood, and so Charlie Brown said to her, you gotta love the world, you gotta love more. And Lucy looked back at Charlie Brown and she said, I love the world, it's just people I can't stand. It's kind of like that phrase someone once said, I love humankind, just not people. Truth is, people can annoy us, they can be difficult to work with, difficult to deal with, they can do us wrong. There's no question about all of that. And so for many, loving others is a challenge of the heart. But it's the call of God to love other people. If we're serious about our life with God, then we must be serious about loving others. The scriptures say that very clearly in 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. We read, the one who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen. The two go hand in hand. If we claim to be loving God, we need to be loving other people. If we have the love of God in us, it's going to overflow into the love of other people. You can't separate these two things. So for all of us, there is a task of learning how to love other people more effectively. How to love other people in a way that we're truly loving God, honoring God with our life, and that we're a wonderful witness to them and to the whole world of the goodness and the love of the God whom we serve. So when you're struggling to love other people, here are 4 principles that might help you. 4 things to think about when you are annoyed, when you are struggling with somebody in your life. Take these 4 principles and see what a difference they can make in how much you love others. Here's principle number 1. Realize just how much every person needs to be loved. God created us with a great need to be loved. So every person that you see, every person that you meet, whether they show it or don't show it, whether you think it or you don't think it, that person deeply needs to be loved. I like this story of this young patient one time of a doctor, and the patient was kind of being treated well physically, but they were a sort of a nervous patient with a sense of anxiety over everything. And so as the doctor looked at the treatment and everything that was going on, he realized that he would put a note on the chart for everyone to see when they come and look at the chart of this patient. And the note he wrote on the chart was, this patient requires love every 4 hours. The truth is, if everybody had a chart, it would say that on the chart. This person requires love every 4 hours. And it wouldn't just say, this person requires love every 4 hours. It would say, this person requires love all the time. This person requires love every day, every moment. That's the truth of every person. That's what's on our chart. That's the way God wired us. It's the way God made us, that we need to be loved. When you look at other people and you're struggling to love them, just remember, they greatly need your love. So the scriptures say this in Romans chapter 13, verse 10. Love is the fulfillment of the law. That's an amazing statement. It's a short statement, but amazing. Love is the fulfillment of the law, meaning everything that God's writing about in the scriptures, in the law, has to do with how to love other people. That's why the scriptures in Matthew 22, verse 37 to 40 say, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Upon these 2 commands depend everything else. Everything in the Bible is about loving God and loving others. Because loving God is our very purpose for life, and loving others is a need that every person has. Know the need in everyone, and you are much more likely to love even when you don't feel like it. Here's principle number 2 for loving other people. Be mindful that it's really easy to develop a critical spirit of other people that we see, to become a critical person, a very judgmental person, a harsh person in the lives of other people. Maybe we don't verbalize it, maybe it's just what we're thinking, and basically we're going through our day and we're putting people down and we're insulting people, maybe just in our minds, all day long. It's easy to become a critic. It's easy to become someone who frowns at people rather than smiles at them. There's a story of a woman who was attending church and she got a divorce. And in the process, the people at the church began to sort of theorize as to what happened and kind of be very critical of her. Sometimes it was verbally, sometimes she just picked up on it. So she stopped going to that church and ended up going to a bar. And the pastor kind of found out about that and caught up with her. And he said to her, "Why are you going to this bar and why are you not coming to church anymore?" And she gave these sort of chilling words that, they ring true for a lot of people's lives. She said, "The people at the bar smile when they see me." And that's not the way it should be. We can't become critics of people, harsh with people, frowning at people instead of smiling at them, because that's going to really be an unloving way to conduct ourselves in the world. Somebody once said this: "No monument has ever been made to a critic." We make monuments for people who achieve great things. We make monuments for people who have affected the world in powerful ways. No monument has ever been made to a critic. And that kind of goes to show you that critiquing people and judging people harshly is never monument worthy. It's just tearing people down. Someone jokingly talked about winning arguments, and they made a few good sentences about that. They said, "I argue very well. Ask any of my remaining friends. I can win an argument on any topic against any opponent. People know this and steer clear of me at parties. Often, as a sign of their great respect, they don't even invite me." That's really the fate of the critic. Scripture says this in contrast to that. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. Build up one another. Those 4 very important words. Build up one another. If you find yourself becoming a self-imposed critic, a self-imposed judge, frowning on all people, take these 4 words to heart. Build up one another. Okay, so loving others is not easy. So we've looked at 2 really good principles so far. Know how much other people need to be loved by you. And 2, avoid being a harsh critic of others, frowning on them. Smile at other people. Number 3 is to realize that it's easy to love people who love you. It's easy to be kind to people who are kind to you. Anyone can do that. Our call is not to love others who love us. Our call is not to be kind to people who are kind to us. Always remember, our call is much bigger than that. Our call is to love people who don't love us. Our call is to be kind to people who are not kind with us. So we have to rise above just loving when we are loved. We have to rise above just being kind when we're kind. The scriptures say this. It's a very important passage. Luke chapter 6, verse 32. Jesus said, "If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them." In other words, anyone can love someone who loves them. but we are to love those who annoy us, who don't love us, who pay no attention to us, who outright seek to hurt us. That's the call. There was once a biographer of a Duke of Windsor. The biographer's name was Alistair Cooke. This is what he said of the Duke. He said, "The Duke was at his best when the going was good." You know, you don't really want that as a description of you. That you're at your best when the going is good, right? You want someone to say of you that you're at your best when the going was tough. When things were hard, you were at your best. You rose up. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to loving people. You don't want anyone to say to you about you, they love those who love them. They are kind to those who are kind to them. You want it said of you, they love even their enemies. They're kind to people even when that person's not kind to them. Wow. What a difference when you can be described that way. That's the goal of loving other people. Somebody once said, "No captain of a ship is ever celebrated for how well they captained the ship during good weather." In the same way, we want to be people who love when the weather is tough for loving, when the person is tough towards us, when the words were harsh towards us, when their actions weren't fair. Then we can be a good captain of the ship in foul weather. That's when a captain gets celebrated, when they can do well under difficult circumstances. You want to do well when it comes to loving, when the circumstances are difficult. Principle number 4 for loving. Realize that when you are unloving, it is most likely not the other person's fault. It is likely to be something in you, a character issue in your own life that needs to be worked out. The reason why we love conditionally, the reason why we love only people who love us or are kind to those who are kind to us is a character flaw within us. So what we want to do is to take stock of who we are, where we are in our heart, what's going on in our minds, and determine that we're going to let God take those things in our heart, in our life, that are unpleasing to Him, that are causing us to be unloving, causing us to be annoyed all the time, causing us to want revenge. All of those are character flaws that we want to work out of us. So the scriptures say this in Philippians 1, "He who began a good work in you will complete it until the day of Christ Jesus." So Jesus Christ, who began a good work in you to strengthen you, to build you up, to cause you to become more in His image, desires to complete that work all of your days. And what you want to say to God is, "Yes, God, complete the work in me. Complete the character building in me. Complete the transformation of my mind and the renewing of my heart, so that stuff like vengeance and unkindness, or just not caring, or bitterness, all of that stuff goes from my life. As your character develops, as your mind is renewed, those things are going to be removed by God if you let Him. That's what we want, because when your character is built, when you become more Christ-like in your heart and in your mind, you're going to become much more loving. There was a guy one time, he had this big stone out in his front yard, as the story goes, and after a while he got tired of looking at the big stone, so he decided to do something with it. And every day he went out and he started chiseling away at the stone. His goal was, over time, that he would make an elephant out of it, so that instead of a big ugly stone in his front yard, he would have an elephant. Every day he went out and he chipped a little bit more and he chipped a little bit more, until after a long while he had a beautiful elephant that he had chiseled out of the stone. A neighbor came over to his house and said, "Boy, that's an excellent elephant. How did you do that? And the guy just said, well, I just chipped away at the stone at everything that didn't look like an elephant. The truth is, what we want to do is to let God chip away at us, at everything that doesn't look loving, that everything that isn't honoring to God. Let Him change your character. Let Him change your mind. Let Him change your heart. Let God complete the good work He's begun in you. Because when a lot of that stuff that you got in there is removed, is changed, is transformed, you're going to be a lot more loving. Because so often, it's not the other guy's problem. It's you. Friends, it's true. When it comes to loving, you can say, easier said than done. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. The fact that loving can be difficult doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing it. It doesn't mean that we should be unloving. So yes, easier said than done, but I want to urge you, brothers and sisters, get it done. Be loving. Take everything we've said here today, apply these things so that you're not just saying easier said than done. You're saying that I am loving others. I'm loving others who even annoy me. I'm loving others who are even unkind to me. And that is increasing over my life. Easier said than done, but get it done, and get it done in an ever-increasing way. Love other people. I'm so glad you were with us today for our devotions, and I really hope you would hit the subscribe button so you would be part of our community and know when all of these videos are coming up. We have new videos every week, a new question every week, a new devotional every week. Thanks for being with us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, make a comment, and we will see you for every one of the videos. And remember, for every question, there's always an answer.